Hello and welcome back. Today we are starting new story titled, The Fist of Vengenance, written by Atharva Mishra 0, please support the author. The link is in the description, so let's begin. Chapter 1 The Fist of Vengenance, Moonknight Mizutofu, Japan, 2144, Mizutofu Police Station. Sitting in the interrogation room of Mizutofu Police Station was Mark Spectre, also known as Izuku Yagi. Izuku was 14 years old and has white hair which were originally green, but he changed it with a noticeable scar which had almost blinded him, but thanks to eye transplant which is of red color, so he changed that the other eye color by a person quirk. He is wearing a three-piece black suit which also make him look like a villain that we all know. Noticeable though, the 15-year-old boy has many scars on both of his arms and legs, and preferable his entire body from burn marks, frostbite and patches of dark purple on his skin. But the most disturbing thing is not how many scars the boy has on his entire body, but his wicked smile that is plastered on his face right now. The smile that he is wearing right now is enough to send shivers to anyone that sees it. And he's smiling while looking through the window in the interrogation room. On the other side of room stood Toshinori Yagi, Enji Todoroki, Rei Todoroki, Naomasa Tsukachi, Shota Aizawa, Sorahiko Torino, Chiyo Shizenji, and Principal Nizu, and they all had many reactions. Toshinori and Inko were crying at the sight of their son sitting in the room. Enji and Rei had shocked faces and stood quietly ever since they came to the station. Naomasa and Aizawa faces were pale as a sheet and their bodies were shaking like a leaf. Nizu was quiet and had a pensive face, but on the inside he was racking his brain trying to figure out an explanation. And finally Sorahiko and Chiyo almost have a heart and look at the Yagi family with an angry look. This can't be real. Naomasa, tell your men to run the test again. This has to be some sort of trick, Aizawa yelled at his boss and detective. How? Inko sobbed as she was higged by her husband. Toshinori, you had some explaining to do, as the old man known as Gran Torino yelling at the symbol of peace. All of them have shocking faces, as if they just saw a ghost. That's because they just saw someone who was supposed to be dead and came back to life. Chapter 2 Chapter 1, Quirkless and a Deku Mizutofu, Japan, 2130, Yagi Household. Here we see Yagi Household, the house of Toshinori Yagi and Inko Yagi, also known as All Might and Green Skik. We see two kids running who look like twins. They are Izuku Yagi and Izumi Yagi. As they woke them up and said, "Mom, Dad, wake up, today is our appointment," they both said at these. Both the parents smiled and Inko got up and started making the breakfast for everyone, and after this she said, "Izuku, Izumi, breakfast is ready," she said at these. Both of them came and got their breakfast and left for their appointment at the hospital. Here we see both the Yagi twins are waiting for their result when doctor came and said, "Ms. Yagi, there is a good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?" The doctor asked Inko. "The good one please, doctor," she said at these. The doctor said, "The good news is that Izumi has a powerful version of your quirk and it can become more powerful if she train it well in the future," he said at these. Inko was happy when she asked, "So what is the bad news, doctor?" she asked at these. Doctor sighed and said, "Your son is quirkless," he said at these. Izuku dropped his All Might figure and started crying as Inko doesn't care, as she was praising Izumi for her quirk, and she left without taking Izuku as Izuku got behind her and sit in the car as they were going home. And at that time also they were praising Izumi and not him. As they got home and Yagi asked, "So what are their quirks?" he asked. "Izumi has a powerful telekinesis quirk and Izuku is quirkless," she said, but Yagi doesn't care about that and started praising Izumi as he was telling her that she will become the #1 hero. After these Izuku got to his bedroom and crying in his bed whole night. The next day we see Izuku wake up and see it's morning 10 a.m. and when he got down there Inko has given everyone breakfast and left for Izuku. As after this he got ready and left for the school, and here we see Izumi with other lackeys and said, "Guys, Izuku is quirkless," she said. After this everyone started talking when Katsuki said, "Why don't we bully him with our quirks?" He asked, "What are you talking, Kaken? I can't do this." She said, "Oh come on Izumi, if we scare him enough with our quirk he will never wish to become a hero in first place," he said at these. Everyone, and when they got to Izuku they asked, "Izuku, do you wish to become a hero?" She asked, "Yes sis, more than any dash," he was saying when he got attacked by an explosion and then everyone beating him and left him like that as Izuku crying with pain. 8 years later as we Izuku here sitting in his class with no emotion they said that actions have consequences. Izuku Yagi, son of Toshinori Yagi, and Inko Yagi, brother of Izumi Yagi. After finding out he's quirkless and his sister has a, you must be thinking what happened to him. As you see, Izuku has got beaten relentlessly by his so-called friends and sister as he hated Inko Ho and but might with passion. You must be thinking, how did he know his real identity? Well, one day he saw both of them leaving in hurry for a mission and they don't realize that Izuku is there, and from that he hated them both, and in a fury of rage, he removed all the All Might and other hero figures as he had removed his beliefs from hero and sold all of the All Might and other hero things at high price. Here we see teacher and said, today is a very important day as it will decide your career. He said at these everyone groaned, but then suddenly he said, I am just kidding, I know you all are going to become heroes. He said at these all of them got excited when the beach squad said, teacher, don't lump me with these extras. He said, oh Bakugo, you and other are going to UA, right? He asked at these they nodded, but then he pointed towards Izuku and said, you have also applied for you. Yagi, he said at these all the class started laughing, and then a explosion happened on his desk and Bakugo said, Deku, don't you dare get into you. Or you will be killed by me. He said after this teacher continued the lesson, and then we see after the ending of class we see the beach squad waiting for Deku, and after which they said, Deku wanted to know how to get a quirk. He asked that these other got tensed and thought, please don't say this. Kaken. Izumi thought, you kill like an idiot. Katsumi thought, take a swan drop from the roof and hope for the quirk in your next life. He said at these all of them are shocked, and then they saw Izuku and are scared for their life. At these all of them are shocked, and then they saw Izuku and are scared for their life. At that time Izuku felt a power surging through him, and in rage he punched Bakugo. Gah. He said, and after these he saw nothing but angry and others starting attacking him as Izumi hold him in a place and Todoroki freezed him and Bakugo attacking him with an explosion in his eyes as he started screaming. After this they started beating him, and after this they stopped. They noticed Izuku is not moving as Todoroki removed the Izuku and saw him. After this they started beating him, and after this they stopped. They noticed Izuku is not moving as Todoroki removed the Izuku and saw him. At these Izumi checked his pulse rate and was shocked and said, he is not breathing. She said, Oni-chan, wake up, I am sorry. Izuku, I am sorry, she shouted, and see Bakugo and other s with rage as she used her quirk and shouted, I will kill you all. She shouted in rage. After this we see she leaves them and got to her brother and cried her eye out, but what they don't know is that they had made the biggest mistake of their life, as Izuku always have a quirk but his father Hisashi has locked them so he doesn't get. After this we see she leaves them and got to her brother and cried her eye out, but what they don't know is that they had made the biggest mistake of their life, as Izuku always have a quirk but his father Hisashi has locked them so he doesn't get out of control. After these incident they all buried Izuku in a secret place. So these is till now guys, so goodbye. Chapter 3 New Power and Past Reveal. Afterlife POV. We see Izuku in the afterlife, but instead of light he saw a desert area, and he said himself, where is he right now? As he started walking towards the temple, and after entering he saw the temple inside. It is an appealing temple to say, and in between there a statue of a god with bird skull and a moon-shaped staff in his. As he know who is he, of course he knew that is Egyptian god Khonsu, as he is called the Heliopolis god of the moon and vengeance. As he started walking towards the temple, and after entering he saw the temple inside. It is an appealing temple to say, and in between there a statue of a god with bird skull and a moon-shaped staff in his. As he know who is he, of course he knew that after these he hear, I can feel your pain, such a waste. Who is there? He asked. Who is there? He asked. I am the god Khonsu. Be my final word against the evil doers, to bind your very being, to be my hands, my eyes, my vengeance. Do you want life or death? Khonsu said. At these Izuku said, I don't know. He said, and eradicate those who deserve it. You are a worthy candidate to serve me. Your mind, I feel it fractured, broken this time in exchange for your life. Do it to them, harm them. After these he asked him, do you swear to protect the travelers of the night and bring my vengeance to those who would do them harm? Do you swear to protect the travelers of the light? At these Izuku remembered all the bullying and all the other things that has happened. At this he said, yes. He said, then rise and live again as my fist of vengeance, my Moonknight, my Moonknight. And before Izuku could do anything he hear, I have called some people for your training. He said, at these some people came there, and they are, I have called some people for your training. He said, at these some people came there, and they are world's greatest detective and fighting expert Batman, world's greatest detective and fighting expert Batman, R.A. Al Ghul, the head of League of Assassins, R.A. Al Ghul, the head of League of Assassins, Aang, the last avatar, and last but not the least Deadshot, the greatest sharpshooter of his time, and last but not the least Deadshot, the greatest sharpshooter of his time, and they all will train you Izuku so are ready for your vengeance. But Kansu, I don't have a quirk, he said. At these Kansu said, no Izuku, you have two quirks, first is elemental and second is weapon creation, and you can attach your element in the weapon, he said. At these Izuku with a sick smile as other got chill in their spin as Yagi should be ready as he is ready to get his vengeance at the Yagi household. Here we see Toshinori and Inko, they're getting everyone as today Izumi birthday is there, and afterwards we see Endeavor family, Bakugo family, and the other family as they all had been called there. When Shoyuta asked Yagi where is problem child, he asked at these he got confused and asked again, Izuku your son you DMN idiot, he said. At these he said, oh Izuku he is there in his room. At these Aizawa nodded and left towards Izuku room. When he enters he saw red and started running towards Yagi has started beating, and before he could do anything Aizawa erased his quirk, and after that Endeavor and Detective had stopped as they asked, why are you betting him Shoyuta, he asked. At these he said, these DMN BSTRD because of him problem child is not there in his room, he said. At these everyone was shocked. After these everyone got to his room, and after opening his room they all felt disgusting as many of them leave thrown up, and there is nothing in his room, not a bed, only a mattress and wall within smell of vinegar, and they saw bandages covered with, hold on, this doesn't explain why his room feel dirty. Just look at the room for a second. There's nothing in here. And by that I mean nothing. No furniture, no books, no toys or posters, or even proper clothes. I mean look at this, said Aizawa while lifting one of the clothes that haven't been properly washed. Inko, did you neglect Izuku all this time? Mitsuki asked while looking at her friend intensely. What do you mean Mitsuki? How dare you accuse me of that? Inko replied raising her voice, then answer my question, when was the last time you met Izuku? Mitsuki asked her friend. What is his favorite food? I don't know. What his favorite color? I don't know. What is his hobby? I don't know. When was his birthday? I don't know. She broke down crying as Toshinori tried to calm her down. As Mitsuki, you did it, didn't you? Tell me Inko, did you do it? Did you neglect Izuku all this time? Yelled the ash blonde woman. After this is silence everywhere and there is no sound as the birthday is converted into a place of mystery as she said, yes we did. After she answered the question everyone in the room see red as Gran Torino and Recovery started beating him as Gran Torino shouted, how could you do this to my grandson, and have you lost your mind or something Toshinori, or I need to remind about your past life. He shouted as he didn't want it to reveal his secret as after this Shoto, if you are wondering sir we already know Mr. and Mrs. Yagi identity, he said. At these everyone see Toshinori asked for an explanation. At these Toshinori explained everyone about his quirk and his arch nemesis all for one. After the explanation everyone was shocked as they were shocked about how could a father do this to his own son. After the explanation Aizawa used his quirk and started beating Toshinori as he shouted, you are lucky that you are a symbol of peace, or else I will personally that you will not see a daylight ever again. All Might, Aizawa shouted. We need to find him right now. He is missing, can you help me find him? Tsukachi, Enji asked. Sure, I will open the case right now, he said. After these we see Izumi coming and said, it's no use. At these everyone was shocked as started to crying and said, he's gone, he's already gone. At Izumi's sudden outburst everyone was shocked and there was no voice as both Yagi has started to cry and started apologies to Izuku as Aizawa asked, what do you mean by your brother is dead? At these she was standing quiet and does not reply. At these Aizawa said, Izumi, I am asking nicely right now. Aizawa said with using his quirk for intimidation. However she was still silent. At these Aizawa said, fine, you won't answer, then we will take you to the police station for statement, and these includes that idiots as well. As these all F shouted, Aizawa, you can't arrest my daughter like that. All F yelled at they both started arguing and can't handle the pressure. Izumi just shouted in the middle, we did it. It's all of our fault. After Izumi shout all of the parents are confused and all the children got scared as their secret will be revealed. Izumi, what do you mean it's your fault? Detective asked in a firm tone. Nizu, stop him, Inko asked pleading with her eyes. No, right now we need to know the truth. I already have an answer based on her reveal, but I want to make sure of it. Nizu answered while praying to God that for once he was wrong. So I asked again, what do you mean it's your fault? Detective asked. At these she told everyone about happened to Izuku in the last 10 years. How Izuku was found quirkless, her plan to keep her brother safe, and how Katsuki planned to bully Izuku, the lies that she told her parents about Izuku bullying her, the abuse from the friend, the grade sabotage from the school, discrimination in the school, the beating that they give it to him, and how they suicide baited Izuku on the last day of the school, and how they tortured him in the alley and left him there to die. At these revelations all the adults were crying as they were sad that their nephew has left them and it's their kid's fault only, and Nizu was close to breaking his cup. Gran Torino and Recovery Girl were ready to beat the SHT out of Inko and Toshinori, and inside Oaf we see Nana crying there knowing that her grandson had died for her wrong successor as she was crying there and others were trying to calm her down. Tsukachi, please tell me it's not true, he asked with pleading eyes as he handled another life like his friend how had died 10 years ago, but God has something else in their mind when he said, what she is telling is true Aizawa, and I am sorry for Izuku, he said while crying. At these everyone was shocked and no one wanted to believe it, but at last we see Gran Torino approaching Izumi and shouted, tell me what passed to your stinking brain. To do this to your brother, he asked while hitting her with his staff. At these she said that she was trying to protect Izuku as she didn't want him to be killed by the villain. We were only trying to protect him. We want to keep him safe. Shoto while trying to reason with his father, and you did a wonderful job boy, I'm very proud, Enji said sarcastically, you know because of Izuku our family is like this, if he wasn't there then we would have lost Tuya and others and he was the one changed. Dad, how could you do this to him? Shoyuta, Fuyumi asked while crying as Izuku was a little brother in everything in. I don't know what to say, I barely have any respect towards you when I heard you neglected your own son, but after hearing that your daughter as the demon spawn, don't consider me as your colleague. All Might, Night, I said while mentioning his hero name, not his real name. As everyone started, but then we see Masaru picking Katsuki by his collar and punched him and said, get up boy, he said, when the hell old man, he said, I said get up. As he tried to get up he got punched again. Masuru stopped this with young Bakugo, he said trying to stop him. At these Enji and Aizawa stopped and these things started going on for 15 minutes where we see his faces with bruises and injury as Masaru, I said get up boy, he shouted kicking Katsuki as we hear the sound of rib cracking when he said, Dad please stop, Katsuki pleaded with his life as he was no longer the prideful Katsuki. Bakugo, the hero of Aldra High No, here is a pitiful boy who is getting beaten up by his father. As Masaru was fed up with it and he said, I can't believe you two right now, of all the sheets that you've pulled I've never been more furious with your action right. Your mother spent the last months holding you two in her WMB. We sacrificed a lot for you both over the last 14 years and this is the result of our sacrifice, so let me ask both of you, are you even human or not? He asked. At these both of them were shocked that their father said these, but others are going to be in more shock as Masaru said, you used to ask me who I am right before meeting your mother. He said. At these all of them were confused as what he used to do, but we see Nizu smirking as he know about the Bakugo past. I was AF mercenary, he said. What? Everyone said except Nizu and Mitsuki as she already know of his past. What, you are joking right? Masaru, all F asked. No, I am DMN Srias. At these blonde bouffons, so shut up and listen properly, he said. I was known as John Wick, the Baba Yaga, he said. What the hell? Everyone as they know about Baba Yaga who had killed the high table by himself and disappeared from everyone's point of view as someone said. As someone said, you mean the boogeyman? He asked. No, he was the one who was sent to kill the boogeyman, Nizu said as they realize how much dangerous Joe Masaru, as if a person can kill the most powerful crime lords then he can do anything. John Wick, I arrest you for killing an illegal quirk, All Might said. At these Masaru started laughing. You think you can arrest me? Try it. I have international diplomatic immunity. You can't arrest me and I can kill anyone without hesitation, he said. You think you can arrest me? Try it. I have international diplomatic immunity. You can't arrest me and I can kill anyone without hesitation, he said. At these All Might was shocked and Mitsuki was blushing seeing her husband like this. At these All Might was shocked and Mitsuki was blushing seeing her husband like this as both twins tried to say something but then Masaru released his. At these everyone got scared and both Bakugo twins did something they didn't did since they were born. At these everyone got scared and both Bakugo twins did something they didn't did since they were born. They cried. They just cried their eyes out. After these Tsukachi decided to intervene before matters get any worse. He sighed, hold on, there's still something that is bugging me from Izumi's previous statement. What do you mean Naomasa? Aizawa asked, as her statement is half-truth, he said as she was scared from detective threat. Izumi tells him what other information she's hiding from them. Flashback start. Here we see a shaggy old hotel in Mizurufu. About 2 miles away from his school we see Izuku there unconscious with his hands tied on the bed frame. After these Izuku slowly opened his eyes and see the room was dark. As he tried to release himself, but after a few minutes he saw all the girls entering the room, as they are Mina, Toru, Jiro, Momo, Shoka, Katsumi, Uraraka and Izumi. All of them were looking him with hunger in his eyes, and these scared Izuku. He had no idea what was going on. "Well, since you're too much of an idiot to understand, guess we have to explain it to you," Katsumi told him in an irritating tone. "Lately, you seem to ignore us. Not to mention you have been avoiding us in the last couple of weeks," Uraraka joined it as well. "And no, I didn't," he said. "Shut up, Deku, who had given you permission to speak," Katsumi said, slapping Izuku's cheek until it's red. "Well, you what to do, right guys," Izumi said as Mina created the acid to burn Izuku's uniform, Momo creating a WHP and other getting ready for the action, as we see Katsumi crawl on the boy while smiling like a predator. Her eyes were filled with hunger and lust just like the rest of the girls in this room. "Tonight, we're gonna remind you, that you belongs to us." And for the rest of the night, the hotel room is filled with screams, yelling, sounds, and a cry for help from a young Izuku. And from that day he lost his emotions because of the trauma. Flashback END, and that what hap slap, Izumi didn't finish her sentence as Inko slapped her and with the face of rage, and that what hap slap, Izumi didn't finish her sentence as Inko slapped her and with the face of rage, "How could you help them, your brother?" Inko shouts at her daughter as she doesn't believe that could go this much down. And as a mother her heart is already, but after hearing that her son can't handle it anymore. After this revelation both Rei and Mitsuki and other parents slap their daughter as they can't believe that their daughter will go this much down and looking them with disguise. After this revelation both Rei and Mitsuki and other parents slap their daughter as they can't believe that their daughter will go this much down and looking them with disguise. As all of them started apologizing as Aizawa shouted, "And what do you hope to happen then? Izuku will suddenly forgive all of you and you all could be together for the rest of your life. This isn't some fairy tale for God's sake, it's not how the world works," Aizawa screamed at them as he was fed up with their lack of intelligence. "Enough," Nizu screamed, "this won't change anything at all. We can stay here and argue all night long, but it won't change the fact that Izuku Midoriya is dead. So here's what we're gonna do. You're going to lead us to where you buried him. We're gonna grab his body and give him a proper burial. After that, we're gonna decide what's your punishment. Is that clear?" Nizu said while gaining a nod from everyone in the room. Chapter 4 Funeral. And ashamed, it's 11 p.m. and it's raining hard with thunderstorms. We could see around 10 cars driving in the middle of road near Mizurufu. Inside those cars, no one utters a single word along the road. It feels like anyone that dares to utter a word will get yelled out by everyone in the car. Inside one of the cars, there are a total of 5 passengers sitting in the car. The one that's driving is Aizawa Shota, also known as Eraserhead, as he just drives in total silence while having a solemn face. Sitting beside him is Detective Naomasa, who's just looking at the road and not bothering to look at the 3 passengers behind him as he was too disgusted with their presence in the car. Behind them is the Yagi family sitting in the car in a gloomy atmosphere. Inko is sitting on the left side of the car near the window. She just looked out at the window while crying. And we see her holding photo of Izuku at the age of 4 as she was just fed up with herself, and we see Toshinori there also regretting it, and we see Izumi sitting on the right side of the car with a sorrowful expression, as she regrets everything that she did to Izuku with her friends. She promised that she will protect him no matter what, but what happened? She turned her back because of her friend's idea to bully him, as she remembered every punch, every kick, every insult that she has done to her brother, as she feel immense guilt inside her body, and they don't know why, but they suddenly feel chills in their spine. 1 hour has passed since they drive to the site and they finally arrive. They got out of the car and grabbed a flashlight for everyone so that they could see, since it was the middle of the night. "Where is it?" Aizawa asked sternly to Izumi. "It's right there," she said while pointing the way. "Lead the way," Aizawa told her, and she complied with no question. They didn't argue or spoke, just walk in silence while the children are leading them the way to the grave. It was a chilly night, the wind was rustling while the tree leaves falling everywhere. The sounds of owls and crickets could be heard from the distance as they continue to walk in. As Katsuki and Izumi lead them the way as Aizawa and Tsukachi follow them from behind. Finally, they arrive at the location. It was a tall tree with a scary look, and the tree itself is marked with the letter of IY, which stands for Izuku Yagi. Everyone looked at the tree with a saddened look on their face while the kids are getting traumatic memories that flashes through their eyes, where they carried Izuku's body from the alley to this forest and buried it in a hurry so that no one. While everyone looked at the tree with a saddened look on their face while the kids are getting traumatic memories that flashes through their eyes, where they carried Izuku's body from the alley to this forest and buried it in a hurry so that no one would look for it. Aizawa decided to break the silence by saying to Katsuki while looking at him with an angered look, "All of you dig the grave," he ordered. At these all of them silently obeyed and the rest of them just follow suit. Momo is trying to create a shovel for them to dig the grave, but Aizawa uses his quirk on her. "Use your hands, and no quirk," he said. Momo and other wanted to retort, but listening to Aizawa's voice it sounds more like an order instead of a request. So they just dig the grave with their hands while the adults are looking at them and looking at their grave. All of them continue to keep digging the grave no matter how dark it is. Their hand is digging the soil and their dress is covered with dirt and torn a bit, but no one complained or argue about it. They just continue to dig no matter how dark or dirty it is. They continue to dig until someone feels something in the ground. "Guys, I found something," Kirishima yelled. When he yelled, everyone began to scramble and dig the spot that he mentioned. They continue to dig till they felt something that touches the surface of their fingers. They continue to scrub the dirt till it was visible and found something. A hand. Once they saw that, they just dig it even further and faster. Once they saw that, they just dig it even further and faster. Some of the adults standing in the front caught a glimpse of it and all their spines is chilling by the looks of it. As they continue, Mina is screeching a little while crying along with Jairu and Toru. Aizawa takes a look at what's going on with them, and when he does his heart nearly stopped at what he saw: a half-buried face of Izuku. He was shocked beyond belief. He was shocked beyond belief. It's one thing to hear that your nephew is already dead, but seeing his corpse in front of him just makes him want to throw up. Aizawa spoke quietly, "Keep going," but some of them are shaking cause they were too scared to continue. They just get a front row seat to the consequences of their action and they don't want to continue. Had enough. Aizawa grabbed the nearest of them, which is Kaminari, and yelled at him, "All of you are the ones that put him there, now all of you are gonna get him out there." Kaminari never felt so scared in his life before. He also one of the main tormentors that make Izuku's life a living hell, and after just seeing his corpse buried in front of his eye, he truly regrets bullying him. He tried to look at his parent for help, but all he saw was their parent turning their head in shame. Deciding to just bite the bullet, he continues to dig the grave till Izuku's body is completely out there. Every second of his face starting to show up is a moment of torture for all of them. About 20 minutes have passed, and they finally managed to pull Hai out of there. The adult was shocked at the state of his corpse. Izuku's body is mangled beyond recognition. Half of his body is filled with scars from explosions, burn marks, frostbite, and stab wounds. Both of his arms are covered with burn marks and frostbite. His hand is having a stab wound with some ice still in the palm of his hands. His face is covered in bruises and dried covers his mouth. His body is very skinny. He doesn't have any muscle underneath those clothes, as they could see his bone from his skin. They didn't give him any food. That's what crosses their mind as they saw Izuku's corpse, which proves that he was malnourished in his own house. Inko and Toshinori decide to rush in without second thought as they approach their son's grave. They want to see him. No, they have to see him no matter what. No, 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 no. No, my baby, Inko screamed while hugging her son's lifeless body as tightly as she could. I'm sorry Izuku, I am sorry Izuku, I am sorry my boy. Toshinori said they want to move his body so they could bury him properly, but Inko won't move anywhere from her baby boy. It took the effort of Toshinori, Enji, Mitsuki, and Rei to try to separate her from Izuku. Midnight, Mike, could you help move the body to the car? Aizawa asked without looking at his colleague. He won't turn around because he didn't want them to see him crying about the loss of his nephew. They just moved and grabbed a white sheet to try to cover his body and carried it to the car. Inko just struggles in Toshinori arms, trying to reach her son's corpse. No, please, that's my baby boy. He needs me, she screamed, and she tried desperately to get to her son. But as soon as they were out of her grasp, she just broke down and fell to her knees. Today we have failed our duties as heroes. We failed to protect a young man from his demise. We as heroes have failed to try to protect one of our own, and that is the sin that we must carry in our lives. Nizu said loud enough for everyone to hear it. We will hold his ceremony in the next 3 days from today. I hope that all of you could attend it, and as for all of you, we will discuss your punishment in UA right now. I don't give a DMN whether it's already 1 in the morning. All of you will be there right now. Is that clear? Nizu said while looking at Kids and Yagi family. The Yagi family was just about to leave with Inko still sobbing and Toshinori trying to comfort her in a hug when all of a sudden a certain family decided to approach them with their offspring following them from behind. I couldn't believe you, Inka, how could you do that to your son? I know that he was a kind kid just like his father, but you and your family just tossed him like trash. Hisashi would be ashamed of you right now. The one who said it was the father of Momo and a great to Inkaho late husband, Hisashi Midoriya. The one who said it was the father of Momo and a great to Inkaho late husband, Hisashi Midoriya, after we arrive at UA that night. Nizu and all of the UA staff held an emergency meeting to decide our fate, whether we were allowed to enter UA High. After nearly 4 hours they have to cancel our applications, and we have to wear a quirk-canceling bracelet inside the classroom, and after we graduate from UA, for the first 5 years we will only get half paid, as our paycheck will be transferred to the quirkless community and Inkaho, and as might 80% salary will be given to the quirkless people. And before Nizu could punish them, HPSC has chosen to interfere in the matter, saying the symbol PF Peace daughter cannot go into the jail due to a quirkless kid. Saying that the symbol PF Peace must be free of dirt and flaws, or else the crimes in Japan will be skyrocketed because of this. Nizu with a heavy heart has to agree with them, as because of All Might's daughter, and that they don't want to lose 21 heroes and training students over the death of a quirkless kid. So they decided to sweep this matter under the rug, and the rest of us is getting away with no punishment, as much to Aizawa dismay. However, they had to attend therapy and anger management before and after UA. After we were done with the meeting, Nizu decided to leave us with one final word before we left the room. Your kids are lucky that the HPSC decided to interfere in these matter. I have no choice but to accept you into the UA hero course. You're all lucky that what you committed is off the record, cause if it wasn't you wouldn't walk through UA right. However, I could still make your time in UA unpleasant. Aizawa will become your home run teacher, and he has been given full authority to run his class however he fit. So if he wants you to attend a certain class during your holiday, you will comply no matter what. And if you have any problem with this, you all know where the door is and can apply to other schools, but I doubt that they offer the leniency that we had, considering the crimes you committed. After these we left the school. Izuku P.O.V. Here we see Izuku in the training place where 75 years have passed, as he got from them and some additional people as well. Here we see doing his daily workout body weight training, executed every day, 100 pull-ups, 10 sets of 10 reps with a 10-second rest, 50 pull-ups, 10 sets of 5 reps with 40 kilograms hanging from your waist, upside down pull-ups, concentrating on your back, 10 sets of 5 reps, 100 dips, 10 sets of 10 reps with a 10-second rest, 50 dips, 10 sets of 10 reps with 60 kilograms hanging from your waist, 500 push UPS, 5 sets of 100 with a 1-minute rest, 100 push UPS with 20 kilograms plate on your back. Monday, chest and triceps, dumbbell chest press, 4 sets of 12 reps dumbbell flies, 4 sets of 12 reps clap push-ups, 3 sets of 20 reps 45-degree bench press, 4 sets of 12 reps overhead tricep extension, 4 sets of 15 reps tricep push-downs, 4 sets of 20 reps tricep kickbacks, 4 sets of 12 reps Tuesday, back and traps, seated row, 5 sets of 15 reps cable cross overs, 5 sets of 15 reps bent over row, 3 sets of 12 reps laying down overhead dumbbell extension, 4 sets of 12 reps barbell pull downs, wide grip, 4 sets of 15 reps Wednesday, arms and shoulders, standing dumbbell curls, 4 sets of 15 reps seated dumbbell shoulder press, 4 sets of 12 reps medicine ball slams, 4 sets of 12 slams, 15 kilograms ball, kettlebell swings. 4 sets of 20 swings, 40 kilograms, no rest, barbell Thursday, cardio only with body weight exercises, 7-14 km run, depending on the state of your body, or 30 sprints, 1 minute at 15 to 19 km per hour, 30 seconds rest 5 km sprint, as hard as possible interval 8 km run Friday, legs, 45-degree leg press, 4 sets of 15 reps seated leg extension, 4 sets of 15 reps barbell squats, 5 sets of 10 reps box jumps, 10 sets of 20 reps sled push, 30 meters with minimum of 200 kilograms, up and back 1 set. Execute 5 sets Saturday, cardio only with body weight exercises, 7 to 14 run, depending on the state of your body, or 30 sprints, 1 minute at 15 to 19 km per hour, 30 seconds rest 5 km sprint, as hard as possible interval 8 km run 5 km swim Sunday, rest. After this Deadshot has trained him in using firearms and he can say that he is an expert level now and have knowledge of all guns and rifles from 127. Here he was tested by Deadshot by using a dummy, and we see Al Ghul training Izuku in instinct sword fighting and how to become a ninja and invisible in other eyes. Consider parents as father only. We see Aang teaching Izuku how to use the elements properly, as after this he started learning to use elements in his own way as he got to know that he can teleport using lighting, as he had trained a lot with other weapons that he had become a weapon MSTR, as Batman has created a place where he can train his quirk to maximum. Yu says he had trained a lot with other weapons that he had become a weapon MSTR, as Batman has created a place where he can train his quirk to maximum use. Here Batman has teaches many subjects psychology, forensics and his detective skills, which are very useful for him, and told him the location of his fortune through which he will make his devices after getting back to his world. Here Batman has teaches many subjects psychology, forensics and his detective skills, which are very useful for him, and told him the location of his fortune through which he will make his devices after getting back to his world. And he had changed his facial features as well, so this where it ends, so see you guys afterwards. Till then, goodbye. Chapter 5 Izuku Resurrection and Starting of You. A Momo P.O.V. Here we see Momo is standing in the middle of what seems to be a study room. The room is quite dark as there's only one light that illuminates the room. The bookshelf is filled with many varieties of books from science to fiction. In the middle of it, there's a solid wood desk with a brown leather sofa chair. Inside it, there's the daughter of the Yaoyorozu family, Momo Yaoyorozu, who is standing in the room while looking at her feet and is not able to make eye contact with the other two people in the room. Inside it, there's the daughter of the Yaoyorozu family, Momo Yaoyorozu, who is standing in the room while looking at her feet and is not able to make eye contact with the other two people in the room. The others were Momo's parents, who just looked at their daughter with fury written all over their faces. Momo's mother is standing next to her husband as she's looking at her daughter with a hint of sadness and anger after what just transpired in the last 24 hours. So many things have happened, and up until now, she's still trying to process what she just heard at the Yagi household. Her daughter, her own daughter, has been bullying a quirkless kid in the last 10 years behind her back with her friends, and they've been abusing the kid by using their quirk just for fun. And the worst part of it is that quirkless kid's name is Izuku Yagi, who they have known in their entire life. She still remembers the little boy when he was still a kid, where he was running around in her house playing with Momo. Where they would play hide and seek in the living room. Or when they watched television and fall asleep and have a sleepover. They were wondering at first why he didn't come again when he was older. Did they have a falling out? Or maybe Momo and Izuku weren't as close as they were before. Or Izuku has been busy with school, so he didn't come here as frequently as before. Turns out, he was scared of them. It hurts her as a mother, to know that the boy who she treated almost like their own child is actually suffering because of their own flesh. And BLD Momo's father was sitting in front of the table with a solemn expression. He has been quiet ever since they came back from UA this morning and haven't spoken a single word since they arrived. The only thing that he said was to tell her daughter to join them in the study room to have a talk. He's been sitting in silence as he stares at his own daughter for over 30 minutes without speaking a single word. He's trying to let the guilt sink in completely for her to know just how furious they are. The boy that he had known for his entire life. His best friend's son. Hisashi's son, Izuku Yagi has just been confirmed dead recently and his daughter is responsible for it. Finally, after what seemed to be an eternity, Momo's father decided to break the silence. Momo, I'm so mad at you right now. Of all the things that you did, how could you torture Izuku's life like that? Momo's mother yelled at her daughter and she couldn't give an appropriate answer. After this he said, "Do you remember what happened 11 years with him, right Momo?" he asked as she was confused. Then she remembered the incident. It was heartbroken for everyone. After seeing her daughter's reaction he said, "That's right. Izuku's father, Hisashi Midoriya, passed away 11 years ago. He was the best man at my wedding and so was the other way around. We always support each other during our hard times. Whenever one of us is going out of town, we would always put you in Hisashi's care and the same thing would happen to Izuku," he said in anger. "Do you remember the last word Hisashi said to you before he passed away?" he asked while looking like he was about to explode for the first time. At these she remembered what her uncle has said to her last time, "Take care of Izuku while I'm gone." "That's right Momo, he asked you to take care of Izuku. And instead of keeping his promises, you throw away those promises instead. You know, after Hisashi was gone, I was counting on you to help Izuku during his hard time after he was announced quirkless and losing a father, and instead of protecting him, you turned his life upside down and showed him pain and torture under the promises that you made with your friends to keep him safe from hero work in the future," he continued to yell at her. "And after this he said one more thing, you are not allowed to take your money from the custody as that money will be used by quirkless people and get lost from my point of view Momo," he shouted in a complete rage. As he told her to leave when the door is closed, Momo's father could only cover his face with his hands and let out his bottled-up emotion. He just broke down, as the last reminder of his long-lost friend is gone from this world. "Hisashi, I'm so sorry, I'm truly sorry," he said while a single tear slipped from his eyes. But he was the not only one who was grieving for Izuku's death but someone else as well. "I'm sorry son for not protecting Mr. Izuku," he said, and we see him as an old man who was crying as he was the main butler of Momo family. He is Alfred Pennyworth, but right now he is blaming himself saying, "You trusted me Hisashi and I failed you." After these we see him leaving to his room. Next morning POV we see Yaoyorozu family sitting there having breakfast when they saw Alfred with his suitcase and luggage leaving. When Mr. Yaoyorozu said, "Alfred, what happened, why are you leaving?" he asked, "I can't live here anymore Mr. Yaoyorozu, I can't leave without my grandson over when I got to know that young miss is responsible for it," he said with sadness. At these everyone was shocked as they don't wanted Alfred to know about it as he was already heartbroken by Hisashi death. But what is the use? Other also know her daughter reality now. "Please Alfred, don't leave our family because of my mistake, you can't abandon everyone," Momo said with guilt. "Well then Miss Momo, here a thing I wanted to say to you," he said coming near to her and said, "Well then Miss Momo, here a thing I wanted to say to you," he said coming near to her and said, "I am so disappointed in you and same can be said for my grandson," he said as he shown her something that she had completely forgotten about. The nesting Russian dolls that she created for Izuku at the age of 4 when she asked how did you got this Alfred, she asked with tears. "I got it in the trash can as much I can assume I think Mr. Izuku has finished his love for you," he said, "but it's no use for her too, she doesn't deserve it." At these Alfred destroyed the doll in his hands. At these all of them were shocked when Momo mother asked, "What do you mean Alfred Izuku used to love her?" she asked. "Yes, he used to love her Mr. but when turned her back on him he finished his feelings for her," he said in blunt truth. As this everyone were shocked and then Alfred said, "With your permission Mr. and Mrs. please tell me the location of my grandson so that I can at least pay my respect to them," he asked. At these both of them told him the location and he left the family on their own. As we see the family there sad that Alfred has left them, and then they heard the sound of crying and saw Momo crying over the broken doll. "Zuzu, I'm sorry Zuzu, please don't leave me," she shouted as she was feeling every insult that she got was her own karma, like people used to say someday karma will bit you in the butt. "Zuzu, I'm sorry Zuzu, please don't leave me," she shouted as she was feeling every insult that she got was her own karma, like people used to say someday karma will bit you in the butt. This is what is happening with her. 10 months later we see Izumi there in her room as she and everything has changed as her mother didn't do any hero work and she always stay in her room and stopped talking to her for few months and after few months she started talking with him but she still looked to her with a little disgusting look as her father is still doing the hero work but with a fake smile behind his real face and then we got to know that in his dream my grandma Nana Shimura came and told her father that he is not worthy of this quirk and I also shouldn't have it but because of All for One rise they allowed us to use the quirk but after All for One they are going to remove the quirk from Toshi. At first she didn't wanted to have that quirk but after some convincing she agreed and trained in using it as she can only 20% with her telekinesis quirk. And others' life is not good as well as Katsumi and Katsuki are now have to pay money to their parents and living in their home as after going home Katsuki father has beaten the SHT out of him and make him a feasible puppy and she got to know that Auntie Mitsuki is PRGNT and she and others are not allowed to see her but somehow Katsumi got her a photo of her sister and others' life is not good as well as Katsumi and Katsuki are now have to pay money to their parents and living in their home as. After going home Katsuki father has beaten the SHT out of him and make him a feasible puppy and she got to know that as she was happy to see her but sad that she can't meet her and after these we see her approaching you. For exam when she saw all others there waiting when she said, "Hey guys you are ready," she asked, "Yeah let's go Izumi," they said as they all left to complete their entrance exam. 10 months before here we see a stormy night in a graveyard where we see all of a sudden raining has started and we see storming approaching when we see something moving near a grave and after few minutes we see a hand raising and after some time we see the body raising and saw Izuku Midoriya raising from his grave as he is changed here we see a stormy night in a graveyard where we see all of a sudden raining has started and then we see storming approaching when we see something moving near a grave and after few minutes we see a hand raising and after some time we see the body when we see Izuku raising and he saw himself alive again when suddenly he hear a voice he didn't hear for many years. MMSTR Izuku, he heard and saw Alfred there, MMSTR Izuku, he heard and saw Alfred there the END. After these I will upload after 2 days till then enjoy the story. Chapter 6 Starting of You. And coming of Moonknight Izumi POV It's been almost 10 months since that day in the forest. 10 months that I lost my brother all because of my stupidity and things have started to go downhill since that day. Today is my first day at UA High. I got up from my bed and headed to my bathroom. I took a shower and brushed my teeth. Then I wore my UA uniform then I went downstairs and made my breakfast. After I finished eating, I grabbed a plastic bag with a plastic container on the inside before I headed out. I didn't want to wake my parents cause it was still 6 in the morning so I walked slowly. As we made our way toward UA, we noticed that Shoto, Shoka, and Katsuki were waiting for us at the entrance. Although Katsuki looks as sour as always. So we headed to the class, and along the hallways, we could see some of the students walking and chatting around in the hallway with happy and excited faces thinking that they finally made it to UA. The best hero school in Japan. When we walk inside the hallway is filled with bursts of talk and laughter and sounds of quirks greeted them through the hallways. 15 minutes have passed and finally, we arrive at the 1A classroom front door. They took a moment to take in that they were finally going to UA High but considering all the strings that they pulled, it's a miracle that they didn't sit in a concrete prison right now. We opened the door and we started to walk in just as they were hoping for, all of our friends are in the same class as them. All 22 of us are gonna be in the same class for a whole 3 years. Normally this would have made me excited, but the atmosphere in the classroom was different from what they had just walked into 15 minutes ago. When we arrive, we start to chat with each other in the classroom, trying to catch up with the rest of them. It's been a long time since they saw each other and I miss some of them like Uraraka, Mina, Kirishima, Ida, and others. Unfortunately, we were so busy catching that we didn't notice a certain black-haired man walking into the classroom. If you're here to make friends and play catch-up then leave now, said the black-haired man. But for others it is like welcome to hell you sons and daughters of BSTRDS and beaches. I turned around and I saw my uncle Aizawa standing on the podium. Not that I'm allowed to call him uncle ever since that night. And based on his expression, he looked like he didn't want to be there so I hurried back to my seats along with my friends. When we were all sitting in our respective seats, he continued to speak up again. It took 8 seconds for all of you to shut up, that won't work. Time is precious. Now for those who didn't know me or in case you forgot, my name is Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher, he said venomously. I want all of you to know that none of you deserve to have a seat inside a UA school except few new students, let alone a hero course. Since the government chose to intervene with your action, we had no choice but to accept you. Aizawa said sternly. So here's how it's gonna be for the next 3 years. I hold the authority to expel any student that I wish inside my classroom, and needless to say that all of you will be in the same class for 3 years. If I caught, saw, or even heard about any of your actions that make me question your place at this school, I don't care what Nizu has to say, I would expel you with no hesitation. And the moment you left this school, your record is an open book for anyone to see, which meant no hero school or any school in the world would accept a murderer in their classroom no matter the reason. If you think it's not fair, then you know where the door is. Aizawa said with a venomous tone. When Aizawa-sensei finished talking, I felt the guilt that I felt 10 months ago just come back, and it's haunting me back. I looked around and the rest of my friends could only lower their heads in shame and confusion. What are you standing there? You had 10 minutes to change and headed to the ground. We're doing a quirk assessment. If you're late, then I'll expel you. 10 minutes have passed and they all barely made it there. Sensei is standing there with an unamused face. You're barely here. Good, now we're gonna do a quirk assessment test. Katsuki Bakugo, what was your last ball throwing result back in your junior high? Aizawa asked while picking a ball. 67 meters, he growls as usual, and Sensei just throw the ball at him. Use your quirk to throw it this time. Bakugo just looks at him with a smug grin. As he uses his quirk to throw the ball to give it a little kick. Aizawa looks at the metering device as he shows it to the class, 2 meters, while looking unamused. Whoa, that's manly Bakubro, Kirishima said while congratulating the blonde spiky-haired friend. Alright, we get to use our quirk, this should be fun, Mina says while cheering. Unfortunately, Mina's statement broke Aizawa's patience as he started to look at the student menacingly. Fun you said, well then, let's make this test more fun, shall we? The person whose scores don't match my standard will be expelled. He said monotone as the rest of the class was shocked by the information. What? The rest of the class yelled. But that's not fair, Uraraka claimed. Yeah, you can't just expel us on the first day, Mina retorts as Aizawa was triggered to them with the previous statement. Unfair. It's that what you want to call this situation? Let me remind you one more time that I have full authority to run my class however I see fit. And considering what you all have done in the past, I don't think you had the right to tell me what is fair or not. If you have a problem, then talk to the principal or pack your bags right here and now, I won't stop you at all. Aizawa said as he narrowed his eyes to those he despised. Life is not fair. So deal with it, Aizawa added with a little anger. Well then, let's have some fun, shall we? Aizawa said in his infamous SHT-eating grin as they looked at him in fear of what's gonna happen to their school life now. The test itself was something that is quite basic, such as 50-meter dash, grip strength, long jump, side step, ball throw, and many others. But some of us are failing a couple of the tests, and based on Sensei's expression, he was hoping that the test result was below his expectation so that he could expel us. After we were done with the test, we were holding our breath tiredly as the test had finally been over. Aizawa-sensei is currently assessing our score and he's showing us the result of our test. Izumi Yagi Momo Yayorozu Katsuki Bakugo Shoto Todoroki Katsumi Bakugo Lida Tenya Shoka Todoroki. Minoru Mineta. After reviewing the test, Aizawa is just looking at them intensely for the last 5 minutes. Everyone is shaking right now. 'Cause no one knows the test standard score, and based on the previous reputation that he expelled the entire class last year, no one is feeling safe with their score right now. For all they know, they could all be expelled right now. Even Izumi is scared despite being in the first place. Your performances are quite adequate, Aizawa-sensei said with a bored tone. All of us in exhaling a lot of air, as we know that we are still in the class for now. Some of us are quite glad that we are still in the class today. Mina want to make a comment on Sensei's words, but Kirishima hold her mouth so that the rest of the class wouldn't get into deeper trouble. Grab your syllabus and head to the class, that's all, and I almost forgot. Welcome to UA High, Aizawa said while showing his signature grin. Welcome to UA High, Aizawa said while showing his signature grin. He just walked away while carrying the test result. The rest of us are standing up and all of us are thinking the same, is this gonna be for the next 3 whole years? Izuku P.O.V. 10 months before. Here we see Izuku after meeting Alfred, but before he could say anything he hugged him. Here we see Izuku after meeting Alfred, but before he could say anything he hugged him, and these happens for some time, and after these he said, "Mstr Izuku, how are you alive?" He asked while crying. After these he told Alfred about how he died and got the powers of a god and became his avatar. As Alfred was shocked to hear this and his face was funny to say the least. After these he told Alfred about how he died and got the powers of a god and became his avatar. As Alfred was shocked to hear this and his face was funny to say the least. "Alfred, I need your help," he said. At these Alfred nodded and he helped Izuku in any ways he can help, as he got a fake passport by the name of Mark Spectre and half American and Japanese person. As he got to America and then he got to Gotham, as he see the new Justice League and the original Batman statue in his name. At these Alfred nodded and he helped Izuku in any ways he can help, as he got a fake passport by the name of Mark Spectre and half American and Japanese person. As he got to America and then he got to Gotham, as he see the new Justice League and the O. After these we see Izuku and Alfred as he speaks. "Mstr Izuku, are you sure it is her?" he asked. "Yes, Alfred. Bruce has told me the location of Batcave, as his original Batcave is destroyed by him, and in case of backup he had created another cave for this purpose," he said. As after sometime he got the door and entered the password, Fairbanks. As it opens we see the world-famous Batcave. As Izuku enters the main area of the Batcave, the Batcomputer. As Izuku enters the main area of the Batcave, the Batcomputer. As Izuku enters the main area of the Batcave, the Batcomputer. Password, computer asked, 91939. He said. At these the Batcomputer opened and we see all the files on today's heroes and villains, and we see it has information on all the heroes of all the countries and created contingency plan according to them. And as usual we see Alfred cleaning the place, and as usual we see Alfred cleaning the place. After these we see Izuku going into a secret place in Batcave and see a huge vault over there. After these we see Izuku going into a secret place in Batcave and see a huge vault over there, and there was at least $10 to $5 billion gold there, and there was at least $10 to $5 billion gold there, and at least another $5 billion. After we see Izuku looking into a abandoned company and he got to know that Wayne Company is now abandoned, and the good news is that Lucius Fox's grandson is still alive and he is like his father and grandfather only. As he sets a meeting with him, and after we see Izuku looking into an abandoned company and he got to know that Wayne Company is now abandoned, and the good news is that Lucius Fox's grandson is still alive and he is like his father and grandfather only. As he sets a meeting with him and he bought the company in $10 million. As he had changed the name to Spectre Corp. And well, the meeting was successful with Lucius Fox Jr., and after 2 months he had created his vehicles that he had asked for and got some workers and changed the cave a little bit. And well, the meeting was successful with Lucius Fox Jr., and after 2 months he had created his vehicles that he had asked for and got some workers and changed the cave a little bit. And we see some vehicles like Angel Wing Glider, Automatic Limo, the Mooncopter. As we see Izuku there, as he had helped many quirkless by providing them shelter, and those who are intelligent they are working to create new devices like a teleporter which is used by transporting to deliver packages in time. As he got ahead of many of them, and we see that some companies tried to get the info but unfortunately they are caught and the other company are gone and taken under the Spectre Corp. As he had tried his best to do anything, and we see wearing a suit as he had a meeting today. As we see Izuku there, as he had helped many quirkless by providing them shelter, and those who are intelligent they are working to create new devices like a teleporter which is used by transporting to deliver packages in time. As he got ahead of man, "Alfred, my breakfast," he said. "Mstr Izuku, here is your breakfast, toast, eggs and coffee," he said. "Thanks Alfred, you are the best," he said. At these Alfred smiled and remembered how Hayashi used to compliment him on his breakfast. As he got a flashback. Here we see a young Hisashi and Alfred sitting. As Hisashi said, "Come on Alfred, at least laugh for once," he said. "No, but I appreciate your try," he said. "Come on Alfred, it's not like we are here the whole time, at least laugh on some of my jokes," he said. After these he never saw Hayashi again, as it was 2 days ago before his death. Here we see Alfred doing his work when he hears someone on door and saw a DLVRY guy. Is this is Mr. Pennyworth house? He asked. Yes, I am Alfred Pennyworth, how can I help you? He asked. Okay, here is a parcel for you sir, please sign it. He asked. At these Alfred nodded and signed and took the package. As after these we see him opening the package where he sees a book and Hisashi letter in which it says, Dear Alfred, if you are reading these letter then this means I am dead and I can't survive in my mission. I know you will be angry with me or saying that I am an idiot, and I know that you must be grieving on my death. But please, I have a last request for you. Please take care of Izuku for me as his grandfather. Please, I know I would have told this to someone else as well, but I know you truly care for him. Please don't consider these as my end. Consider these as my new transformation. I might have left my body, but I am still alive in your heart, and I might be there in one of the stars watching Izuku. And thank you for being the father that I never have father. Your son, Hisashi Midoriya. Flashback END. Here we see Alfred standing there quietly when he said, okay so goodbye Alfred. He said, goodbye Mstr Izuku, see you in the evening. He said the end. Chapter 7 Katsuki Rage and Moonknight appearance. The rest of the week flew quickly for Class 1A, as it was a very quiet and peaceful week for them without the presence of the resident Pomeranian in the room. The class continued with their lesson without Katsuki as they just moved on as if never happened. Well, you wanted to know what happened, then listen. As Katsuki was in the villain team with Lida, and we see that in opposite was his round face and Izumi, as the things between them is not going well as he and Izumi got in a fight, as we see that he got defeated and in the rage he attacked them with his most powerful attack and injured them pretty bad. As they were rushed into medical treatment and Katsuki was going to get expelled, but All Might saved by giving a stupid reason, and we see Nizu smirking as he called someone and told them of the situation, as we see All Might getting a chill in his spine as he got a call and he knew he was screwed, and we see he picked up the call and said, hello Mstr, he said, but before he could say anything he listened. Toshinori, you brat, how dare you save that angry Pomerian and a PSCHO who could do anything. To win, are you an idiot or have you lost your remaining brain cells? He shouted. At these he tried to explain, MMSTRP please understand HH, but before he could say anything he heard, I don't want to hear your explanation you DMN Buffon steroid bodybuilder, get over my place and get ready for your punishment, he said as he ended the call. Why did God hate me? He thought. As this he got a message in his phone. Because he also know that you are an idiot Toshinori, he replied. At these suddenly we hear someone shouting, all hail the rat god, he hear. As that voice disappeared on the last day of his suspension, Katsuki came to the class and he's back to his arrogant self, not caring for any whatsoever. And the rest of them just ignored him as always. It was the final PRD on a Monday afternoon and Aizawa-sensei had some things that he would like to announce. Alright, now that everyone is here, I can begin. After the whole fiasco during the battle training, Nizu had decided that some other quirk training exercise should be started before all of you move to the advanced. Aizawa explains while looking at the certain Pomeranian in the back. So, for tomorrow, our class will be heading to a rescue training facility known as the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, or known as USJ. The school has provided a teacher at the facility to help you train with this subject, and you would meet with the teacher at the location, Aizawa explained with his monotone voice. You all need to gather at the parking hall at 1:00 tomorrow. If you wish to wear your hero costume, then the school has allowed it. Don't be late or I'll expel you. Aizawa finished explaining. Before any more questions could be said, Aizawa dismissed the class and everyone began to pack their belongings and prepare to go home. Izuku P.O.V. Here we see Izuku in his Moonknight suit dealing with the thugs. Here we see Izuku in his Moonknight suit dealing with the thugs. They said that actions have consequences. Izuku Yagi, son of Toshinori Yagi, and Inko Yagi, brother of Izumi Yagi. After finding out he's quirkless and his sister has as he had got famous around the world as he had destroyed many drag dealers and mafia lords, as well as he had a bounty on his head and many assassin are behind him now, as we see him going towards the goons. Here we see Joker goons talking to themselves when suddenly smoke started coming from nowhere and then they see someone coming from there. Here we see Joker goons talking to themselves when suddenly smoke started coming from nowhere and then they see someone coming from there when suddenly one of the thug asked, now who the hell are you supposed to be? He shouted and tried when these happened. Now who the hell are you supposed to be? He shouted and tried. When these happened, I am Vengenance. He said as after this he started attacking everyone like this. After these he saw a person hiding there with a gun. When we see him trying to attack him, when he suddenly caught the gun and started freezing it using his elemental quirk. After these he saw a person hiding there with a gun. When we see him trying to attack him, when he suddenly caught the gun and started freezing it using his elemental quirk. As we see that even after this he wasn't giving up and laughing crazy when he did something that would scare everyone. As we see that even after this he wasn't giving up and laughing crazy when he did something that would scare everyone. As after that he left the crime scene and flew away from there. As after that he left the crime scene and flew away from there. Alfred P.O.V. Here we see Alfred cleaning the place as usual. When he hear Alfred send Angel Wing on my location, he said. At once Mstr Izuku, he said. After these we see Izuku there starring at the moon. When he hear, so how the life treating you, he hear as he saw Kansu there, yeah pretty well but still there are some moments that I got lost in my old life, he said, yeah pretty well but still there are some moments that I got lost in my old life, he said as they were talking with each other and enjoying in themselves. When Kansu said, looks like your ride is here till next time Izuku, he said as he disappears. As after this Izuku came back from his duty and got normal. As Alfred said, welcome back Mstr Izuku, he said. Thanks Alfred, he said as after this he got fresh up and had dinner with Alfred. As after this he went to his moon cave that he call as he got all the contingency plan in case he ever meet them, as he know the new Batman will not let him live, as he view his sidekicks fighting here and there. As he read the contingency plans, the Justice League Superman Kryptonite. Superman's most notable weakness is being exposed to radiation emitted from the substance known as kryptonite. Batman himself possesses most of the kryptonite given to him by Superman himself, as limited amounts of kryptonite exist on Earth. Following Batman's fight with Superman, Batman has devised other, if not easily avertible solutions to immobilize or hold off Superman in combat. Ionizing radiation. Another option Batman has thought of is trapping Superman in a room filled with ionizing radiation, non-ionizing radiation being what gives Superman his abilities from the sun's rays. This would slowly but effectively strip Superman of his strength and render him unconscious, though Batman is unsure how to immobilize him without killing him using this. Magic. He has no special defenses against magic, and thus, something that would magically affect a typical person would also affect Superman. Sensory overload. With his extremely acute senses, Superman can be overtaxed to the point of pain when encountered by extreme external stimuli such as hypersonics, hearing, balance, sight, flash bang. Nuclear weapons. Superman isn't immune to being damaged by nuclear explosions. They don't normally kill him, but they have been known to cause him a lot of damage sometimes. There have been at least 2 occasions where nuclear weapons nearly killed Superman. One of these occurred in the New 52 universe, and one in the pre-New 52 universe. In one case, he was left laid on the ground, unconscious and looking worse for the wear. Lead happens to be the only substance which Superman's X-ray vision cannot see through. Therefore, it can make him vulnerable in certain situations by lessening his power. Psionic attacks. All Kryptonians have naturally poor defenses against psychic and telekinetic attacks. While physically stronger than almost every being in the universe, Superman's mind is malleable for anyone who knows how to use mind control. High-pitched frequencies. His super-enhanced hearing leaves Superman vulnerable to certain frequencies that can be painful to hear. We're not just talking dog whistles here, but crazily high-pitched frequencies that can make his ears ring. This ultimately means that his power leaves him vulnerable to something that most people can't even hear. Red sun radiation. One of the downsides to being a Kryptonian like Superman is that red suns have the ability to stunt his superhero potential. They do this by depleting his yellow sun reserves in order to weaken him and rid him of his powers. This weakness has been used against him multiple times, and is one of the most reliable ways to weaken the Man of Steel for a fight. Electricity. He's shown a vulnerability to electric shocks. This vulnerability has been used against him by multiple villains and Batman himself. Both Livewire and Conduit have used electricity against Superman, in order to weaken him or destroy him in a fight. Wonder Woman. Batman has devised nanites which, when injected into her body, leaves Wonder Woman trapped in a virtual reality battle against an opponent whom she cannot defeat and is her equal in every way. Her refusal to surrender under any circumstance would eventually cause her to tire herself out and die of exhaustion. Flash is one of the fastest beings on Earth, it would be extremely difficult to subdue or affect the Flash while using his powers. One plan Batman has created is with nanites which, if injected near the neck or the base of the spine, would cause the Flash to become completely disoriented and suffer a seizure while at super speed, easily putting him off balance and misdirecting him, causing him to crash into the nearest wall or hard surface at the speed of sound, leaving him unconscious. Batman has also tried developing a device which harnesses extremely cold temperatures, which if used against the Flash, would rapidly slow down his metabolism, leaving him without his super speed. Batman has begun devising an altered version of Scarecrow's fear toxin which would cause Aquaman to become hydrophobic, causing him to remain from any body of water and become weaker every second. Other weaknesses include dehydration, such as placing or trapping Aquaman in a facility or suspended prison with nothing but dry air. Red Tornado electromagnetic pulse. Red Tornado is susceptible to being mechanically reprogrammed as well as controlled. Numerous times he has been altered in order to destroy the JSA or the JLA. Black Canary sonic feedback. Green Lantern. One of Batman's plans for Green Lantern also revolves around Scarecrow's fear toxin, but without any alterations. Using highly advanced and sophisticated cyborgs stolen from Lex Luthor, the Lantern would be tricked into believing he had made a wrong decision that led to the deaths of innocent people. With his will partially broken, Batman would administer the toxin, breaking it entirely and making the Lantern believe he isn't worthy of his power, as fear is the enemy of will. Green Lantern is rendered blind by his own power ring from a post-hypnotic suggestion introduced during the REM phase and the ring placed on him while he was asleep. Stewart is unable to function without his vision to guide the ring's power, but he is able to overcome the post-hypnotic suggestion after his ring is temporarily removed and the methods behind the attack are explained to him. Martian Manhunter. The Martian Manhunter's most noted weakness is fire. Batman has devised a nanite virus which, if introduced into John's body, would convert the outer layer of his skin into magnesium, causing him to burst into flames upon exposure to air. Likewise, a substance taken into his body, such as drink or food, could be laced with magnesium carbonate, causing him to sweat out the magnesium, leaving his body highly flammable and leaving him too subdued to prevent being set on fire, the fire of which constantly burn, even under water or another extinguisher. Injecting the Martian with aluminium oxide is the only way to neutralize the magnesium. Other members of the League. While the members of the League with superhuman abilities have been Batman's first priority, he has also devised weaknesses, if not obvious, for the non-powered members. Zatanna. She must be able to speak or read backwards in order for her to focus her spells. On a separate occasion, the Joker, disguised as the stage magician Loxias, shot Zatanna in the neck, rendering her magic useless. Powerful enchantments against beings of magic, like gods, are able to restrict her as well, preventing her from accessing enchanted places or dispel the adverse charm. Harmful magical realms such as Hell can also hinder how often she can speak her spells and can cause her great physical damage. Firestorm. Phantom Zone. Lack of raw materials can nullify his powers. Dr. Fate. Although Kent Nelson is an accomplished magician and crime fighter, without his helm he is significantly weakened. His invulnerability does not protect him against gas attacks. After long mystical battles or casting powerful spells, Fate's power would be depleted and needs to restore his mystical energy. In the early days, Dr. Fate would be invulnerable to almost everything except gas of any kind, or he could also be completely paralyzed if he was deprived from air to breathe. Hawkman. Every time he is born again he must wander the earth till he meets again with his eternal soul mate. But as soon as they form a deep bond, they are destined to be murdered again, and it continues. Shazam. The spell that allows Billy to transform into Shazam is purely vocal. Therefore, if he is prevented from speaking, such as being gagged, he will not be able to transform. Green Arrow. Immobilizing one of Green Arrow's arms, whether temporarily or permanently, is an obvious weakness, negating him the use of his bow. Another weakness would be similar to that of the Flash, using nanites to cause nausea or a seizure that would leave him comatose. Plastic Man. His semi-liquid form remains stable at relatively high and low temperatures provided that the temperature change is gradual. A sudden change induces a complete change of phase, creating a truly solid or truly liquid form. Plastic Man is shown to have some weakness to extreme heat, intense heat vision attack from a Martian, and can be temporarily melted. Plastic Man's molecules can also be scrambled using ultrasonic wave distortions. Booster Gold E.M.P. With Booster Gold's future tech being far more advanced, Batman would use an electromagnetic pulse to disable it, leaving Booster Gold fully vulnerable to a physical attack. Vixen removing her totem, taking away her access to her power. Teen Titans Damian Wayne arrogance. More often than not, Damian believes himself to be better than he is. This has allowed him to underestimate opponents as well as irritate his allies. Nightwing overconfidence. As a result, in analyzing any situation, this allows P.P. Grayson to become overconfident and misdirected. This will make himself open to a second attack. Starfire drags. When she was a SLV, Corey was addicted to the drags that were forcefully given to her by her captors. She managed to overcome her addiction, however. Batman thinks that if she is given the same drags, her addiction may come back. Metallic chromium. Starfire, like many Tamaranians, is allergic to metallic chromium. It gives her flu-like symptoms, and when she sneezes, she unleashes explosive star bolts out of her nose and mouth. Also, her powers are largely affected by how she feels. As Robin learns, if she is feeling down or confused, her abilities become severely diminished. If it is exposed to solar radiation, it can be used like kryptonite. Beast Boy. It has been shown multiple times that Beast Boy is highly vulnerable to hypnosis. A single glance is enough to put him into a complete trance. When Beast Boy is sick, he can't control his shape-shifting abilities and transforms every time he sneezes. Raven's main weakness is letting go of her emotions, especially rage. Tara learned it from Beast Boy and took advantage of it in the Teen Titans episode, Aftershock, Part 1, using it to finish her off. Even though her rage seems powerful, it could potentially corrupt her, leaving her very vulnerable to attacks with more power than her own. Another weakness of Raven's is her dependence on her incantation, Azarath Metrian Zinthos. If a GG is placed over Raven's mouth and she cannot recite her incantation intelligibly, she cannot connect with her powers until the GG is removed. Cyborg Batman would shut him down using a computer virus or EMP. Apparently his cybernetic part doesn't provide resistance against mental control, be it telepathic or psionic in nature. Both of his mechanical and physical parts can be affected by magic. During a battle against the fearsome Five, part of his body was transformed into liquid metal by Jinx. Bumblebee power instability. Formerly she used her suit to shrink, however after an accident with a Zeta beam she couldn't stop shrinking and this is causing her heart to seize. Without the medicine from the chief she wouldn't survive. Blue Beetle Reach technology. Reach Tech is capable of piercing the Blue Beetle armor. The Scarab has a truce of nature, and won't hurt it, or anything coming from it, of its own volition. Task Force X King Shark sense of BLD. Like every shark, King Shark develops a sense of BLD, but when clouded with rage, his senses can be his own downfall. Killer Frost will die unless she regularly absorbs heat. This extends to areas of extreme cold for too long. This in turn makes her immune to overheating. El Diablo cold temperatures can easily take him down. Livewire her stored electricity will short-circuit and at least partially dissipate if she gets wet. Deadshot his daughter. Any situation involving his daughter, Deadshot can be vulnerable to psychological manipulation. Harley Quinn the Joker. Harley has a deep psychological need to please the Joker even after he dumps her. Subjecting her to powerful hallucinogens can bring that psychological need to the surface. Monarch having gained his powers from the Lords of Chaos, these beings always tried to cheat on their dealings with the Lords of the Order, and sometimes Hank was used as a pawn in their games, being very susceptible to their control. Enchantress June Moon. Enchantress's dependency can be easily used against her by using June's humanity in Enchantress to trick her. Batman Incorporated Red Hood rage and impulsiveness. When blinded by his rage, he is unable to think clearly. Increasing his adrenaline will increase his rage to a point of near death. The Joker. After being brought back from the dead, Jason Todd develops a psychological obsession to kill the Joker. This can be used to manipulate Jason to a point where his obsession can be his downfall. Batgirl trauma. After being shot and paralyzed by the Joker, Barbara starts to develop some trauma, which can be used against her. Neural implant. After being paralyzed by the Joker, Barbara had surgery to regain her mobility via a neural implant. If something interferes with neural implant, it can do some serious damage. Alfred Pennyworth. His willingness to serve. As the servant of the members of the Bat family, his willingness to serve and help his family can be his downfall. Cassandra Cain. Over-reliance on body reading ability. While a definite strength in combat, Cassandra's ability to read body language can work against her when she can't properly discern the intent of the opponent's actions based on body language. Generally this can happen when an opponent is very good at disguising their intent. In another instance, it could be that an opponent isn't thinking or focusing on their movements as they make them. The last way in which this weakness manifests is when Cassandra is facing an opponent who is mentally unstable or ill. Such an opponent is simply too unpredictable to anticipate. Fear toxin. At some point, Batman was able to procure a sample of Scarecrow's fear toxin, and for a short time, used it to help him defeat his more skilled opponents and adversaries. During the formation of the Justice League, Batman began devising other uses for the toxic, analyzing each member of the League to target a specific mental weakness. So far, he has only devised one use for the toxin, against Aquaman. After this we see Izuku thinking about more plans to do the contingency plan when he heard Alfred saying Mr. Izuku, tomorrow Commissioner Gordon and her wife wanted to meet you. He said, well then Alfred, let them come. He said, Alfred. He asked, yes Mr. Izuku. He replied, you know Gordon is wasting a lot of manpower on these traps. He said. At these Alfred nodded, and then he said, let's surprise them tomorrow Alfred. He said with a smirk. Next morning here we see Gordon and his wife come to his house as they were shocked to see such a nice house. Here we see Gordon and his wife come to his house as they were shocked to see such a nice house as Alfred came and sent them to a room where they saw a girl sitting there as Alfred, Police Lieutenant Gordon and Mrs. Gordon. Sir, he said, Mrs. Gordon, I'm charmed, he said, kissing her hand. Alfred, be a joy and get some glasses for our guest, he said. At these Gordon said, Mr. Spectre, we don't want to waste your time more than necessary, he said. It is Moonknight you wanted to talk about, right? He asked. Something about me being him. Pardon me, where are my manners? I neglected to introduce my friend. Unfortunately I'm not sure what her name is. She doesn't speak any language I know except one, he said. How convenient, Mrs. Gordon said for the very first time. Barbara. Mr. Spectre, I need to know where you were on the following days, he asked. After a few minutes we see Gordon and Mrs. Golden leaving the Spectre manor when her wife said, he's a pig. He's like one. Anyone who wear a cape and hunt criminals might go pretty far to keep his secrets, Gordon said, or he really is a sleazy womanizing scumbag, she said as they left for their work. After this we see Izuku asking Alfred if they are gone as these they nodded, and we see it was an illusion that he used for creating that women